So, what if I told you that the university course of the future isn't what you think it is? And get this, it was created in one of the most challenging places on Earth right now.
Okay, picture this. It's your first day of class. You're ready to take notes, and your professor walks in and says, "This is a course where you don't have to learn anything." I mean, what? You'd be totally thrown off, right? Well, that's a real quote. That's exactly what a Ukrainian engineering professor told his students. Now, to really get why he'd say something so crazy, you have to know the backstory. We're not talking about a comfy lecture hall. This is an online class happening during the war in Ukraine. His students are scattered, dealing with power outages, unimaginable stress. So, what on earth could he have meant by that?
Well, it turns out it's not about giving up on learning at all. Nope, it's about completely flipping the script on how we learn. This is a whole different kind of class. The focus isn't memorizing facts, it's about something way, way more important.
And here's the key takeaway. He wasn't saying, hey, knowledge doesn't matter. Of course it does. What he was getting at is that the old school way of just cramming your brain full of facts to spit back out on a test, that's pretty much obsolete now. The real goal, the thing that actually matters, is knowing how to use the powerful tools we have today to solve real-world problems, the kind of stuff you'll actually face on the job. And to really grasp how big of a deal this is, let's take a quick look at the old model of engineering that he's trying to tear down. Okay, so in the old days, if you were a junior engineer, your job was all about operations. What does that mean? Well, basically, you'd be doing routine calculations, running equipment inside the lines that someone else drew for you. It was all about keeping things running, just following the instruction manual. But here's the professor's big point. The real value, the work that actually earns you the big bucks, isn't in just operating the system, it's in optimization. And that is a completely different ballgame. So what's the difference? It's actually super simple when you break it down. Operations is just following the rules. Optimization, well, that's about making the rules. Think about it like this. Anyone can follow the rules to drive a car, but an optimizer is the one who's redesigning the engine to make it better.
According to him, the value of a modern engineer comes from looking at a system that's already running, digging into the data, and saying, hey, how can we make this thing work better, faster, cheaper? You're not just a cog in the machine anymore. You're the one upgrading the whole machine.
So the big question is, how do you actually do that? Well, one thing's for sure. A textbook and a calculator just aren't going to cut it anymore. You need a whole new toolkit for this new era. And this next quote just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. You don't need to remember everything, but you need to know what's possible. It's not about having a brain like a hard drive, full of memorized facts. It's about understanding the landscape, knowing what your tools can actually achieve. So what's in this modern toolkit he's talking about? Well, it starts with some practical stuff like VBA and Python. Then you level up to the big leagues with machine learning. But the real kicker, the absolute game changer, is artificial intelligence. And he doesn't see it as just another piece of software. He sees it as your partner. He calls it a digital genie, which I think is perfect. Stuck on some complicated code? Just ask the genie to explain it to you, step by step. Don't even know where to start on a problem? Ask the genie for some ideas. See, this totally changes the game. The pressure isn't on you to know everything anymore. The skill is in knowing the right questions to ask. And if you can master this new way of thinking and working, whoa, it does more than just make you a better engineer. This professor is saying it completely transforms your entire career. It's like unlocking a superpower. And he's not just talking in abstracts. He puts a number on it. A pretty staggering number, actually. He claims that if you combine your degree with these modern skills, you could boost the value of that diploma by 3 to 5 times. That's huge. And he insists this isn't just some academic theory. This is what the real-world global job market is demanding right now. So what are these magic skills that unlock all that value? He boils it down to 2 things. 2 force multipliers that make everything else you know way more powerful. First, being great with modern tech, especially AI. And second, being proficient in English, because that's the language the whole world uses for business and science. Okay, but it's not enough to just have the tools, right? I mean, you could have the best tools in the world, but if you don't know how to use them, they're useless. And that leads us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, the learning by doing mindset. And learning by doing isn't just some feel-good slogan, it's a real educational theory. The idea is simple. You only truly learn something by, well,
by doing it, not by passively listening to a lecture. It's like you can't learn to swim by reading a book about swimming, right? You've got to jump in the pool.
And this is exactly why he warns his students. You cannot cram this stuff. It's not the kind of course where you can just zone out during lectures and then pull an all-nighter before the final. Real skill, the kind you can actually use, is built up over time with consistent practice. It's like building a muscle. You can't do it all in one day.
So to make sure his students are actually doing, he's got this really cool way of testing them. Forget boring old written reports. Instead, students have to do a practical task, and then they record a quick video, like 5 or 10 minutes long, just explaining what they did, how they did it, and, most importantly, why they did it that way.
And here is the absolute genius part. The professor tells them, this video report, it isn't really for me, it's for you. Because think about it. When you have to actually explain your thought process out loud, you're forced to make sure you really understand it. It solidifies everything in your own mind. It's a test of true understanding, not just checking a box. And all of this really brings us to one final massive question. The question this entire course is trying to answer. In a world with AI and all these incredible challenges we're facing, what's the point of education anyway? Are we just learning how to pass tests, or are we learning how to solve real, actual problems?